I think that'll work. Hold on, let me fix the chat for you. Okay, there we go. Welcome into the Rant. I am Pugs Moran. We are Radio Misfits Dallas, live from the E-Gallery studio here in beautiful Dallas's Design District. A little bit of an issue there with the start. Yeah, I'll tell you what the issue is. Beyond my control. So apparently Elon Musk, who sucks, fucking hate this guy. Go ahead, keep carrying water for your little weirdo heroes. This fucking guy, he has now made it so that you can't stream on Twitter anymore. Like you can't just, the way you have been able to for, ever. Anyway, he can't do it now because, see, he made a really bad business deal. He super overpaid for this crap, which was free, which, was probably worth what? I don't know. $1 billion? No, I don't know what the hell it was worth. But didn't he pay like 50 billion or I don't know, some absurd amount of money? He overpaid because at the time everything was going great for him. Tesla was cranking, SpaceX looked good. We didn't know that the Boring Company was a massive failure at this point. So he had the richest man in the world status. So what Elon Musk did was he didn't like the people at Twitter were being mean to him. So he went and he bought it. And he's like, it's mine now. So now he owns the fucking ball that we all used to play with. And now he's making changes to it. Like, for instance, you can't just stream on Twitter anymore. So now every day when I start the show the way I normally did, it stops me because the platform that we use to stream these shows, a wonderful company called Restream that I'm happy with. It's very easy to use. But anyway, because Twitter is no longer allowing me to stream, they want my $10 a month. They're like, you can only stream if you're a blue check. Now, fuck you, man. $10 a month for something that used to be free. I'm not an idiot. Although we're probably going to have to at some point get a $10 a month subscription Twitter. So I don't even know. I don't know. Maybe just go hard on Instagram. Maybe that's it. So anyway, because they changed their rules at Twitter where we're no longer allowed to stream for free unless we're blue checks. Every day when I hit start of the show doesn't go live. It tells me, hey, one of your things that you think you're streaming to is, it's just a whole process now. So fuck you, Elon Musk. Jesus. Oh, this guy. Hey, by the way, let's do this. I'm starting a new thing. I thought this could be fun. All right, so this is Powerade, right? So here's the thing. My kid, he's 15 years old. He lives almost exclusively on these kinds of drinks, these kinds of I come from a world where there's Gatorade. That's it. But apparently there are a whole bunch of other stuff. So Powerade is one of the Body Armor, there's energy drinks too. There's like all kinds of crazy energy drinks. Hey, you want to hear something funny? You know that stuff Four Loko? That Four Loko? Did you know that's water? I didn't know it was water. Thought it was something else. That's a pretty extravagant name for water, wouldn't you say? Four Loko. Anyway, I learned that's water. So every day now that we're doing the show here from the beautiful Dallas home of Radio Misfits Dallas, in fact, the E-Gallery in the Design District, I'm a little bit out of my rhythm. I'm doing things differently. One of the things that I'm doing differently is every morning I'm stopping at the 7-Eleven and I'm just getting a little something to drink. And my kid, because he sends me to the store all the time, and he's like, get me some drinks. I'm like, what kind? He's like, it doesn't matter. So I'm always bringing all kinds of different energy drinks and rehydration formulas. So I figure every day maybe I'll grab one. Every day I'll try a different one, and then we'll know which one is the best. Today we're going to do, I've never had Powerade. I know people probably think I'm nuts. You're like, what do you mean you've never had Powerade? Well, I'm 50, okay? Like I said, I come from the Gatorade generation. That's it. If I need to rehydrate, I go to the 7-Eleven, I open up the cooler, and I buy Gatorade. I don't buy these off-brand things. Although I do understand this is Pepsi. So this is not exactly off-brand. It's, it's actually mainstream. All right, let me try this. This is a Fruit Punch Powerade. Here we go. That's fine. What do you want from me? I don't know. It tastes like fruit punch, tastes like Gatorade. It's got that unfulfilled potential of Gatorade. That's always been my problem with Gatorade. And don't get me wrong, I love Gatorade because my palate has become adjusted to it. But in the early days of Gatorade, like the first 10 years, I always thought, man, this is like some really try-hard liquid. It's like it starts out, you're like, oh, this is going to taste really good. And then it flattens out. there was like no flavor. It was like, what is that? It's just like a really... Anyway... All right, so I just tried Powerade. Kid's been with me all week. Kid, 15-year-old boy, giant moose of a man, violent. Oh, God. Even though he's playing around, he's hurting me. Hurt me again last night. I can't raise my arm above my... Let's say hi to our friends in the chat room. We do gather here each and every day, Monday through Friday. Wait. Oh, wait, Four Loko. Yeah, wait, no, it's Liquid Death. That's what it is. I'm sorry. Cam Grant, you're right. See, I don't know anything about these things. So I'm going to try a whole bunch of different ones because I could do it with wine, could do it with beer, but, those would have residual problems associated with me just, pounding. I'm going to do like energy drinks and rehydration drinks. Youth drinks. I'm going to give you the best one. You guys are right, though. I'm so sorry. Four Loko was that thing that was banned, right? That's why when I hear Liquid Death, my mind immediately goes to like, that should be banned, right? But it's just marketing. All right, we got Peter here. We got Jameson here. Hiya, Jameson. We got Jeff here. We got Frankie B, Cam. I saw Taronda in there first. Taronda, I'm going to give the award to being here first. Mikey D also. We got Barney. Let's see here. Come on, everybody. I'll give you a second. I know we started a little bit earlier than normal. Typically, we don't get rolling to about 10 after or so. What is this show? It is a daily non-stop. Oh, here we go. It's a daily non-stop stream of consciousness rant on all the day's news. It's not just the day's news, though. I try to take a deeper look at the day. I want to give you everything you need to know about this day. We start out, we tell you the history. We then go into birthdays, people born on this day. Who's having a birthday today? Deaths, people who died. We decide if they go to heaven or hell. That's fun. And then we get into all the day's hot topics and current events. Hold on, I need another drink. Bada bing, look who's here. We got Kojak in the house. Howdy ho, Kojak. All right, I'm going to try this again because it's not terrible. I mean, the Powerade isn't terrible. By the way, if you guys want to suggest some energy drinks or something that I can try, go ahead. Throw them in there. I'll buy them. If they're at the 7-Eleven or if they're at the convenience store that I stop at, I'll grab that. Here's the thing, though. I ain't paying absurd amounts of money for one can. All right? Like, I'm not going, I'm not buying a $6 can of something. Okay? Just so make sure we're talking about normal stuff. Although I do notice this whenever I go to the Kroger because I fill up on these stupid things for my kid because that's all he drinks. But when I go to the Kroger, they've got a whole aisle of like millions and millions of honestly, do you know how many different rehydrating sports drinks there are now? Do you know how many energy drinks there are? Again, I come from a simple world, a place and time where Gatorade and Red Bull existed side by side. And if you needed an energy drink, you went and got Red Bull. And if you needed to rehydrate after a jog, you did Gatorade. Hi, Jen. Jen's here now. Yeah, Barney said, I was convinced that his son convinced him that Four Loko was just water. No, that's because earlier I was saying, I was talking about Liquid Death. I didn't know that Liquid Death was water, but I was calling Liquid Death Four Loko because I'm not familiar. Anyway, we don't need to spend a whole show talking about me. Red Bull and Tito's. There you go. Red Bull. That's the, we see this with everything though. Every time like something is new, then all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of them. Don't have any other examples off the top of my head, but what do you say we get started? Okay, today is, hold on, let me pull this up. Don't have my notes in front of me. Why? Because we're not ready. Yeah, we are now though. It is the 25th day of July, year of our Lord, 2024. That means there are 270 days already past, 159 until the end of the year. So as we say around these parts, get those New Year's Eve plans started. All right, let's move into the first segment, the first quarter, if you will, of the day. We call it antecedently on this day. It's essentially just a look back at the events that have helped shape our understanding of this day. Think of it this way. Previously on July the 25th. Antecedently on this day in 1866, the United States Congress passes legislation authorizing the rank of General of the Army. 1866, you know they gave that to. Of course you do. They gave it to America's greatest single general, General Ulysses S. Grant. Now, Were many of his battles won because his strategies were heavily influenced by his rank alcoholism? Yes. He was a drunken general who planned strategies and all that while wasted, and they all worked. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Grant, America's greatest drunken general. They had to tie him up to his horse at times because he would fall asleep in the saddle and fall out. So they had to rig some kind of a thing, not because he was tired, because he was drunk. He was drunk. Anyway, General of the Army, Lieutenant. Okay, so it was on this day that Congress passed legislation authorizing the rank of General of the Army. Lieutenant General Ulysses S. Grant becomes the first to be promoted to this rank. Now, this isn't just like general. It's not like, because he was already a general of the Army. That means like all the other generals are underneath you. I don't know if they still do it. I don't know if we have one now. Let's see. You know what? That's fun. Let's see. Do we have a general of the Army? Do we have one military dude who has risen so high in this modern United States? We should know his name, don't you? General of the Army is a 5-star. Okay, so we're looking for a 5-star general. All right. Do we have 5-star generals? Let's see. All right. Hold on. Here we go. History. I don't care about history. All right, here we go. Here are, oh my God. All right, generals of the Army. These Ulysses S. Grant. Then they made William Tecumseh Sherman General of the Army. Then General Sheridan, Fort Sheridan. All right, those are pre-World War I generals of the Army. All right, generals of the Army during World War II. All right, we got George Marshall, the Marshall Plan. We got Douglas MacArthur. I'll be back. We got Dwight David Eisenhower. He was a general of the Army. Henry H. Arnold, General Arnold. Do I know that? He's a general of the Army, and he's the second most famous Arnold in the history of the United States military. And the other one's bad. And Omar Bradley, the Bradley fighting vehicle and all that good stuff. He was a general of the Army. That's it. Yeah, we don't have it anymore. Modern usage? Do we have any modern generals of the Army? Doesn't look like it. All right, nope, no 5-star guys. Anyway, it was on this day when that started. Let's see here. Antecedently on this day in 1866, the Wyoming Territory is established. Wyoming on this day, they looked around, they saw a whole lot of nothing and said, let's make this something. And Wyoming is what it became. Antecedently on this day in 1965, a very big moment in the history of American culture, certainly in American music. It almost devastated folk music, for it was on this day in 1965 that Bob Dylan at the Newport Folk Festival, the largest folk gathering in the world, Bob Dylan steps out on stage, a young hero, a prince of the genre, a guy that everybody came to see. Bob Dylan steps out on stage, plugs an electric guitar into an amplifier, and rocks out. Oh, they didn't like it. Oh, he was destroyed. But it caught on, ushering in the beginning of electrified folk and all that other stuff. And my God, you know, what do you want to say? The Byrds, the Eagles, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, whatever. It was the beginning of electrified folk music. Bob Dylan, 1965. On this day in 1978, Test Tube Baby. Happy birthday, Louise. What's her name? Louise Brown. Remember this? I remember this. I was like 8 years old. Okay, so Test Tube Baby. Test tube. They made a baby in a test tube. That was wild to me. On this day in 1978. Wild. Like, what do you mean they made a baby? I didn't even know how they made babies anyway. But that didn't seem right. But everybody seemed happy about it. Like it was a good thing. This is a miracle. Look how amazing science is. Yeah, that's what it was. Test tube babies. And then like for years after that, when I was growing up, you know, that was an insult. It was like, you're a test tube baby, you know? So I think that's like somewhere around the mid 80s, late 80s. They changed it from test tube baby to IVF, right? We all know in vitro, and we know how it's changed the world and changed families and just given people the kinds of lives they wouldn't otherwise have. I personally think that anybody who wants to have a family and anybody that wants to have a child and create a good member of society, you know, I think that they should be allowed to do that in any way that they see fit. And thank God. I got to be honest with you, man. I think like half the people I know with families, their families exist because of IVF. So that's this day. On this day in 1978, Louise Brown, the first human to have been born after conception by in vitro fertilization. Test tube baby. That was on this day in 1978. Antecedently on this day in 2000, the Concorde crashed. Remember that? Remember when the Concorde crashed? We still, here we are. What year is this? This is 2000. 24 years later, we still don't have supersonic air travel. The Concorde was such an awesome promise. The idea that we could tighten the globe to a degree that, if you were in North America and you wanted to go to Asia or Australia, let's say Australia, you wouldn't have to spend 18 hours on an airplane catching 3 different connecting flights. The Concorde and the promise of supersonic air travel was supposed to bring these exotic and until, supersonic air travel, places you couldn't get to. And then guess what happened? A bunch of rich guys didn't want us plebes to be able to go wherever we wanted, so they made it incredibly expensive. And why did they do that? They did it by banning it all across the United States. United Airlines, American Airlines, all the airlines got together and they created some fakakta idea that when supersonic planes land in landlocked cities, they create sonic booms that could be terribly dangerous to people. So bought and paid for Congress of the time said, yeah, you can't have supersonic planes. And if supersonic planes are going to land, they can only land in East Coast or West Coast over water, which is total bullshit because at the time where I lived, Chicago O'Hare was like the busiest airport in the world, still is one of the busiest. It's just a hub in the middle of the country. That's why it's busy. But they couldn't have Concords. We couldn't get Concords into Chicago. We've got a military base right there at the same airport. Those are fighter jets. Those things come in at supersonic speed. So it was bullshit. And then they decided to knuckle down. So what was it? France and a partnership between Air France and British Airways, I think. I think that's who operated the Concorde. So they went, okay, fine. Let's make every seat $1 million or whatever. You know what I mean? It was super expensive. Nobody flew on the Concorde unless you're a rich kid. It's like flying private now. So then it crashed. And and it was like, oh man, rich pop stars don't want to fly on the Concorde anymore because it crashed and now it went away. And it's 24 years later. We still have to dedicate half a week to get to Australia. This is absurd. All because of money. All because the airlines liked us, flying to Cleveland and flying. They liked it. Domestic air travel. It was great. They didn't want us saving up all year to go to Australia. They liked what they had. They didn't like the competition. Why? Because they would have to change over their fleets. American Airlines didn't want to have to start building a whole bunch of supersonic planes to keep up. So they created, as I said, a stupid law that wasn't even real. But Congress was bought and paid for. They always have been. That's on this day, 2000. Air France 4590 crashes outside of Paris shortly after taking off from Charles de Gaulle Airport, killing 113 people and essentially ending the era of supersonic flight. On this day in 2010, WikiLeaks publishes classified documents about the war in Afghanistan. It's the whole start of the whole thing. 2010. What's that guy's name? Blondie McSquarehead. What's his name? They just let him not out of prison, but they just said, all right, fine, nobody cares about you anymore. That was the day that this guy started. I think it's good that I can't remember his name. Don't need to remember his name. All right, that's going to do it for Antecedently on this day. Let's talk about some birthdays. These are celebrities or notable quotables, people of, accomplishment, who we will mention because they were born on this day. And then we're just going to go like, do we like them? Are they cool or not? Born on this day in 1750, Henry Knox. Henry Knox! He's an American patriot. He's a general. But let's just say Fort Knox is named after him. I don't know that for sure. Look it up. If you want to be a dick about it, go look it up, okay? I'm just saying Henry Knox was probably the guy they named Fort Knox after. Henry Knox, American general and politician, first United States Secretary of War. Born on this day in 1750. Born on this day in 1923. This one sucks because she just died 2 days ago. We did her in the deaths, and now we're going to do her in the lives. Born on this day in 1923. Golden Girl Estelle Getty. Remember, she died. She died 2 years ago. We put her in heaven. Put her in heaven because she's a golden girl. Let's see here. Born on this day in 1925, Jerry Paris. You guys know who Jerry Paris is? Jerry Paris was Jerry Helper from the Dick Van Dyke Show. Remember Jerry and Millie? Jerry and Millie, they live next door. The people that the pet trees used to swing with. Yeah. There was something going on there. And let me tell you, Rob Petrie was getting the short end of the stick because let me tell you, Millie Helper was no Laura Petrie. No. Jerry was like, yeah, we swing. And Millie's like, what? We do? Although Millie would be happy. Millie would be happy because I guess Dick Van Dyke was a pretty good-looking guy like Rob Petrie. I guess the question is, would Millie Helper do Rob Petrie? I think the answer is yes. I think she'd be so lucky. I don't think Millie was. I think Jerry Paris, our birthday boy, Jerry Helper, and Mary Tyler Moore, Laura Petrie, and Dick Van Dyke, Rob Petrie. I think that they were attractive people, and I don't think that Millie was. I think that Millie was okay. I think that Millie was like, a Cleveland Five, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, happy birthday, Jerry Paris. Jerry Paris would go on to be one of the most prolific television directors in Hollywood. He directed every episode of Friends. If you watch Friends, it's like, look, there's Jerry Helper from the old Dick Van Dyke Show. Born on this day in 1925, happy birthday. Born on this day in 1953, happy birthday to the great Walter Payton. Walter Payton, good old number 34, sweetness, my favorite professional athlete of all time, the hero of my childhood. Let me tell you how lucky I was. All right, this is how lucky I was. So I got to grow up as a kid in my very early days and then into my teens with Walter Payton as my football idol. And then I had Jordan, coming in basketball. But let me draw a distinction between these two people. Jordan's an asshole. Walter Payton is a guy that the NFL now has a trophy named after, who they give to the best dude on every team. Okay, like the dude who does the most in the community, who's the best with fans, because that's who Walter Payton was. And Michael Jordan's a great athlete, and I love watching him perform, and he brought my team a whole bunch of championships, but Michael Jordan's a jerk. Walter Payton is not just the man of the year, he's the man of every year. Happy birthday to Sweet. His nickname was fucking Sweetness. Why do you think? So, like I say, as a kid, I was lucky because I got to see my original hero is truly worthy of a child's admiration. It's truly worthy of having, a poster in the bedroom. Now, look, Walter liked girls and he liked to have a good time and dance and all that stuff. That's fine. But he was also genuinely a dude who was just awesome in the community. Just awesome with charities, would support anything, would show up at things where he wasn't even asked to be. And he was just a great guy. It's why they have the award. They have the award because he was a good guy. And then because he was taken so quickly and so young, with a terrible disease, right? It's not like Walter Payton was found dead in a hotel with a prostitute. It wasn't like that. It was like we watched him die. We watched him, especially if you were in Chicago. We watched him. We cared about him. We loved him. He was very upfront about the whole process. And then it happened and he died and he's gone, but it's his birthday. So God bless you, Walter Payton. Sweetness. We were at a party near his house. And we were all drunk, and we pulled in his driveway, and we all got out because we were drunk and 18 and stupid. And we got out in his driveway, and we're like, "Yeah, it's Walter Payton's house," just being fucking idiots, right? And then we see down at the end of the driveway, the big house, we see the lights go on, and then we see the porch light come on, and then we see the front door swing open, and then we see a dude standing there in a white robe. We assumed it was Walter. I'm pretty sure it was. But then as soon as he showed up, we all went, "Hey!" And then we got in our car and left. That's all we wanted. He didn't yell at us. He didn't have a shotgun. He's probably used to it. He just came out and he's like, "Is this what you want?" I don't know. He said something. I couldn't hear him. I was drunk. If I'm being honest, I didn't even get out of the car. I was just sitting in the back seat. Happy birthday, Walter Payton. Born on this day in 1953, died in 1999. Born on this day in 1958. 1958? Good Lord, I had Thurston Moore of Sonic Youth. Born in 1958. That dude was old. He's old now. He was old when Sonic Youth was around. My goodness. Thurston Moore. Born on this day in 1958. Born on this day in 1967. Happy birthday to Matt LeBlanc. Matt LeBlanc, one of the Friends. if I had done a friends draft back in the day, if you're like, let's do a friends draft, I mean, I think there's no question that Matt LeBlanc would have been last taken. I had no use for Joey Tribbiani on Friends. My son asked me the other day, he's like, you ever watch Friends? And I'm like, because he's 15. And I'm like, yeah, I watch Friends. He's like, and right, and he's laying it out there, like no matter what I say, he's getting ready to just be like, "You're gay," or whatever. Like he's a 15-year-old. That's how he thinks and talks. So I go, it's good. It was well written. I think it might be a little dated. I haven't seen it in a while. And then he just looked at me and nodded his head and went, and then changed the subject. I don't even know what that was about. I don't know what he was getting at. I don't know if he likes it. I don't know if among Gen Z teens, Friends is like a dorky thing or if it's a retro cool thing. I don't know. He gave me no info. But happy birthday, Matt LeBlanc. Born on this date in 1967. A couple of football players here. Born on this day in 1995, Alvin Kamara. Skillful running back. Born on this day in 2001, Bryce Young. Bryce Young, we don't know what his deal is, but my God, oh God, I love Bryce Young. I don't care what he does. It doesn't matter to me. His very existence, that he came out of college in a down quarterback year and somehow got super hyped to, they were saying about Bryce Young out of Alabama, because remember, it was him and CJ Stroud. This is why I love football experts. They were talking about Bryce Young and they're like, oh, well, even in a stacked quarterback year, he would be one of the top 3 quarterbacks. And then, I'm looking at him, and I think the rest of us are all looking at him, and we're like, he's like 5'10". He's like tiny. What? He's like Doug Fleet. He's not that small, I know, but he looks very frail. Anyway, point is this: he gets taken number 1 overall by the Carolina Panthers, an absolutely dumpster fire of a team. So he's never going to get a real fair look. He's got 3 years to show that he's worthy of like a $200 million contract. Otherwise, he's gone, right? Quarterbacks aren't given time to develop anymore. So he's down there in a shithole, Bryce Young, Carolina. And, of course, my team is the one who traded with them. So here's how I like to look at the Bryce Young trade. So the Chicago Bears had the number 1 pick. And the Chicago Bears didn't really see a quarterback in that draft that they thought they could rebuild their team around. So they decided to roll with Justin Fields last year and see what they could do. So they had the number 1 pick. Carolina was desperate, and they got an owner who's a complete moron. So their owner was like, do whatever it takes to get, I heard Colin Cowherd talking about Bryce Young, do whatever. It was some stupid thing like that. So the Chicago Bears just housed Carolina Panthers in a trade. The Bears are like, yeah, we'll give you the number 1 pick in a year of the NFL draft where the number 1 pick isn't really that sought after. So Carolina's like, okay, and they gave us everything. They gave us DJ Moore, right? We wanted him, but they also gave us their number 1 this last year, which turned out to be the number 1 pick. Anyway, it's just, I love Bryce Young. I love everything about him. I love his very existence. I love that he was hyped. I love that there's a stupid owner in Carolina who thought that, he was going to be a generational quarterback. Well, great. And maybe he still will be. This is my point on Bryce Young. Maybe he still will be. We don't know. He's not getting a fair look. Carolina's got nothing. And they got no draft picks because the Chicago Bears have them all because they really wanted Bryce Young. Oh, they're in hell. They are in hell. Hold on. My son is texting me. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. All right. I apologize. My son, who is 15 years old, gigantic and never stops eating, sent me a video of CeeLo and him doing some little skit that they were practicing. And really, he just wanted, he tagged that with, oh yeah, and also get me some food on your way back. All right, there you go. More food. Kevin says, Pugs, I was with you going to Walter Payton's house. Remember we went to the wrong house at first? The gate said empty, and one of us said wrong house. This is Yes, I do. Walter Payton's house. Yeah. Yeah, okay, Kev. I don't remember who was with us. I I just, that's cool. Where were we? Were we at did we go up to like Barrington for what? Or were there, was it like a Daryl and Derek party up there? I don't know. Now I'm just doing one-on-one conversations with my friend from the chat room. Adam says, I think he's talking about the Carolina Panthers. They've made an effort to get better. I bet they can be not totally horrible this year. Maybe eke out a 5-6 wins. Good for them. I hope they do. I mean, I don't want them to be horrified, but I just, I'm glad. Look, I put everything that the Carolina Panthers went through last year, are going to go through, I believe, for the next couple of years, while they dig out from this hole. They have salary cap issues. Well, no, they don't have salary cap issues now, but they certainly don't have, depth of draft and all that. So I put it all on the owner. The owner is a maniac. The owner is a complete authoritarian jerk off. So, yeah, Kevin says it was a Barrington party. So that would have been up there with Daryl and Derek. I'm gonna try a little bit more Powerade today. Ugh. All right, let's move on. That's going to do it for birthdays. Let's go with dead people. Here's the folks who dead. Here's the folks who dead. People died on this day. Oh, my God, what happened? Did I lose my... Guys, I just lost my place. It's okay. It'll happen again. We got it. These are the people who've died. These are the people who've died. Shout out to Jim Carroll. Let's decide if they go to heaven or hell. Here we go. Dead on this day, 1989. Steve Rubel. Dead on this day in 1989. Do you know who Steve Rubel is? Steve Rubel is a New York City party promoter turned club owner. Very famous for his one club, Studio 54. Steve Rubel opened Studio 54. Studio 54 became the epicenter of really global nightlife for a period of time. It was like the most important club to be seen at or to go to. The stories of Studio 54 are absolutely delicious. Man, there was debauchery going on in there. Anyway, point is this, couple of movies as well about Studio 54. I've read a book about Studio 54. I love that cultural moment in time. Disco, drugs, free sex, just no political correctness. It was just insane. Steve Rubel was a piece of shit, and he's in heaven. Just want to make sure before we start talking about his greatest achievement, the building of Studio 54. He was a garbage human being. He was bad. He was a con man. He was terrible to people, and Steve Rubel is in hell. Dead on this day in 1989. I think he died of AIDS. I think he was a victim of AIDS. Dead on this day in 2003. 2003, American filmmaker John Schlesinger, ladies and gentlemen. No relation to Dr. Laura, just John Schlesinger. All right, let me pull up John Schlesinger. I know that John Schlesinger has made some movies that I'm like, oh yeah. But if I'm being honest with you, off the top of my head, I don't really know anything that he's done. So let's see. Let's quickly go through John Schlesinger's filmography. First of all, he's a director. He's a film director with a German name, a German-sounding name. So he's got to be an a-hole. He's got to be like awful on the set. So he's already on his way to hell. But now let's see what he made. If he made some movies that... all right, so let's see here. Never heard of it. A Far from the Maddening Crowd. Okay, I've heard of that. Don't know anything about it. Midnight Cowboy. All right. John Schlesinger made Midnight Cowboy. That is absolutely a plus. Sunday Bloody Sunday. That is definitely a plus. Sunday Bloody Sunday. That's the movie about... Right? Hold on. Let me make sure. No, never mind. That's not it. Screw that. I thought that was the movie where the dude flew the blimp into the Super Bowl. Remember that? Anyway. Day of the Locust. There you go. That was another Schlesinger film. Marathon Man. Oh. So let me get this straight. So John Schlesinger directed the scene in Marathon Man where Sir Laurence Olivier does a little dental work on Dustin Hoffman. Oh, God. Forget it. He's going to hell. He's obviously got some darkness. And that is one of the most traumatic scenes I've ever seen in a film. You ever see that? Where Olivier playing the Nazi, okay, so when the Nazis all ran to Brazil, right? In that, or whatever. So he's down there hiding he's an old Nazi. It's the 1970s. He's hiding down there in Brazil, and Dustin Hoffman like finds out he's a Nazi, so he does like Nazi dentistry on him. Oh my God, that was awful. Hey, but John Schlesinger also 1985, Falcon and the Snowman. Look at that. I like that movie. Sean Penn, Timothy Hutton, couple of spies based on a true story. Don't know if it holds up. Liked it back then. Falcon and the Snowman. The Believers, 1987. Here's another possible Kevin Barber moment. A bunch of us back in high school, we went and saw The Believers at Brementown Mall, which was a mall in our neighborhood, and it was The Believers. And I believe we were walking out of it, and our friend Kurt said, "What you think of the movie?" And he goes, "Didn't believe it." which kind of became something we just kept saying over and over. I don't believe it. Didn't believe it. Look at us having fun thinking about our past. Okay, so I'm really upset because our numbers are staggeringly down for the chat room. I am looking at the numbers. They are like 1/8 what they typically are around this time. And I think it has something to do with the whole Twitter thing and all that. This sucks. Ugh. That's right. We shall persevere. We'll keep going anyway. We're not worried. All right. Falcon and the Snowman. We're talking about the movies of John Schlesinger because I didn't know what movies he made. Falcon and the Snowman, like that. The Believers. Pacific Heights. Huh? Remember that? Pacific Heights? Wasn't that Michael Keaton? Let's say Melanie Griffith. Michael Keaton was a cop, and he was like a stalker cop. All right. There you go. John Schlesinger. He's going to hell. He's got to go to hell. Gotta go to hell because of the whole, Nazi dentist thing from Marathon Man. All right, let's see here. This one, Dead on This Day. What year are we looking at? 2000. Oh, man, this one was recent. Dead on This Day. Paul Sorvino. Look at him. We love Paul Sorvino. Look at that guy. Can I tell you something about Paul Sorvino? So, when I was a little kid, there was a TV show called The Great Space Coaster. And I liked this character on The Great Space Coaster. The character's name was Baxter. And I don't know, for some reason I liked Baxter on The Great Space Coaster. But then I started seeing Paul Sorvino in movies, and I started going, that dude looks like Baxter. All right, so commit this to memory. I want you to look here. This is Paul Sorvino. All right, now I want to show you how much he looks like Baxter. Oh, all right, we got to stop that. All right. Where's Baxter at? Here we go. All right, so you remember what Paul Sorvino looked like, right? All right, so here's Baxter from The Great Space Coaster. I'm telling you. Look at that. Come on. Right? Doesn't that look like Paul Sorvino? They got like the same eyes. Got different hair. You put a red wig on Paul Sorvino, he's Baxter from The Great Space Coaster. All right. I don't know. These are the weird things that I think about. All right. That's going to do it. Those are the deads. Everybody, Paul Sorvino, we're putting him in heaven because I liked him. And he looked like Baxter. And I miss Baxter. Smee says The Great Space Coaster is one of those theme songs that pop into my head for absolutely no reason. Get on board, Smee. I think that's what it was called. When the theme song, The Great Space Coaster, Get on Board. It's the Great Space Coaster. Get on board. Great Space Coaster. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, you're right. I agree with you, Shmee. All right, that's going to do it for deads and the birthdays and, historical events that have helped shape our understanding of this particular day. Let's get into the hot topics, headlines, current events, and everything else that we need to know. Okay, so before we do that, direct your attention to the bottom of the screen there. We're going to make Tracy D the executive producer again today. Didn't get any tips yesterday. That's okay. Not a big deal. But this show does run on your gratuity. So if you are so inclined, if you do want to help support this kind of talk radio, the kind of talk radio that doesn't really exist in actual radio anymore. Why? Because I don't carry water for any particular political organization, and I don't want to just talk sports. So all the other things in the world that there are to talk about that aren't political or sports based, and we will touch on those things, but it's not the whole backbone of what we're trying to do here. This is a gathering, a community gathering of not even like-minded people. I'm just going to say a gathering of decent people who understand that life is too short to be completely branded by the way you vote or to be completely beholden to the way your team performs. Let's have a conversation. That's what we do every day here on the Rant. All right, I need more of this. That was a weird transition. I just started riffing there. Didn't want to stop. I was like, man, I could keep going, which is the whole point of a stream of consciousness, which is what this show is. Barney says, time to explore. It's a magic mystery in a place where dreams fly fast and free. Now, those are the lyrics to The Great Space Coaster, but don't tell me they can't be Dylan lyrics. You put those lyrics in a Dylan song and people would be like, that's just, man, what does he mean by fly fast and free? Think of the depth there. No. To a 10-year-old in 1980, The Great Space Coaster theme was Dylan-esque. All right, let's get started with all the things that are happening in the world today. First and foremost, let's get this nonsense out of the way. The big story, well, look, the big story, if you're not completely politically motivated, right? You get rid of all the politics stuff. Here's the big story. The big story is robust economy. Apparently, folks, the economy is robust. I don't know what these numbers mean. I don't know all this stuff. Anyway, I'm going to read it to you, and then you process it any way you want. Economic growth quickens, rising at a 2.8% rate in the second quarter of this year. The U.S. economy, ladies and gentlemen, has accelerated in the second quarter as consumers increased their spending, businesses invested more in equipment and stocked more inventories, and a cooling of inflation. Gross domestic product, the value of all goods and services produced in the United States, adjusted for inflation and seasonality, rose at an annual rate of 2.8 for April through June to $22.9 trillion. The Commerce Department said on Thursday. Biden's Commerce Department. See what I mean? See how silly it is? Like anything you disagree with, you can always just. Let's see here. So the numbers, faster rise. It's faster than the 1.4 pace. So it was paced at 2.8. It was No, I don't want to say that. Gross domestic product, whatever. The numbers are good. Okay. So numbers are good. Yay. Gas is still at $3.35 a gallon. I got a gallon of milk for like $2 the other day. So that was good. I don't know. These are all like, these are all numbers that I don't think they affect us. I think that there almost has to be a complete collapse of our economic system for the middle class and the working class to truly get motivated, because I believe that we've all been conditioned. I know I have, to expect that gas is going to go up. It's just going to, everything's going to go up. But why? Why does everything have to always go up? Why is gas so expensive, man? I remember when gas didn't use it. Now, well, I don't want to get into a conversation about gas. But anyway, they're saying robust economy, so cool, I guess. I don't know. Still broke. See a lot of cranes in the air down here in the design district of Dallas. I see a lot of giant cranes and a lot of buildings. So I don't know. There's money being spent somewhere. Gas is still $3.35 a gallon. All right, that's it. Robust economy. Biden's speech. Let's talk about that. Anybody see the President of the United States not shit his pants or fall asleep there on live TV? That was pretty awesome. I watched the first couple of minutes of it, and then I went, okay, he's all right. Did you catch him though? When he started talking about the inauguration, he's like, I remember back at my inauguration, and then I was cold outside. Like, he started to spin his wheels. And I'm like, here we go. Dude's going to spin his wheels. Dude's going to completely get lost, lose his train of thought, not know where he is, try and recover and make it worse. That's what he's going to do. That didn't happen. He basically held it together. Yeah, he talked like an old man. He talked like an old man who you need to check in on. That's what I've come to expect from his public appearances. We have set the bar so low. It's just, He's still not a guy that you give the remote to, right? Grandpa, give me the remote back. Grandpa, give me the remote. Grandpa, you don't need the remote. Grandpa, I can't figure out how to work. That's who he is. And he got up and he sat down and he made a very nice speech. The words, if you just read the words that he conveyed, beautiful sentiments. I happen to agree with all of them about coming together and defending us as a name, blah, 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 whatever. I don't care. You're radicalized on the other side if you thought that was a terrible speech, because it wasn't. The performance of the speech was very, very, like I said, the bar is so low. He didn't poop his pants. He didn't fall asleep. So there we have it. The Biden speech. I still think he blew it. It was like a manufactured LBJ moment, right? Because LBJ in 68, when he said, I shall not seek, nor shall I accept the nomination of my party. When he said that, when LBJ said that, it shocked everybody. They didn't know. It happened live. What's the president going to say? And then he said that. But with Biden, the moment is gone. We've known for 4 days. They've already got multiple polls out in the field about the new matchup between Harris and Trump. Biden's going on TV. He's like, they just told me. Apparently, I'm not running. Moment's gone. It was a good speech, though. He slurs, and I know he's got a stutter, and he's overcome the stutter. But he wasn't like this when he was campaigning with Obama in 2008. I mean, come on, there is obviously a decline there. But as I said, he did fine. The words of the speech were great. They resonated with me. I thought, these are the things that I want to hear from an executive. Tamping down this shit. Yeah, there's some major construction going on in here, so that's all right. I apologize, chat room. Just put it out of your heads. It's fun. It's a live studio. It's a live working studio. All right, so there you go. That's the Biden speech. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, okay. Let's talk about Kamala's VP, right? So I guess I want Mark Shapiro. Josh Shapiro. I like Josh Shapiro. Josh Shapiro is the governor of Pennsylvania. I think he's pretty moderate. He's popular. And for me, he's Jewish. I love that he's Jewish. I love it. I think that's the kind of thing that'll help a ticket, right? You need these. First of all, Pennsylvania. He's a popular blue governor in Pennsylvania. So he's going to deliver Pennsylvania probably. That's good because you need Pennsylvania. Pennsylvanians haven't really been coming through from MAGA. Remember they gave you Fetterman, right? Then Oz lost. And then they had that crazy guy running for governor against Shapiro. Remember the crazy guy who actually lived in New Jersey? He was nuts. He was another MAGA back guy. So I think you got to go with Pennsylvania because they've got to be looking at this. And again, folks, I want to point this out. When I'm talking like this, I'm pretending to be a for-hire strategist, okay? I'm talking about what is in the best interest of their party. And it just so happens these past few days, the only party we've had truly discussed that with is the Democratic Party because they're the ones that underwent such drastic changes these past couple of days. So when I say all this stuff, I'm just saying what I think if I was a paid strategist to work for him, what I would do. I would make Josh Shapiro your second in command. You'll get the Jewish people. And it helps with Kamala. Kamala's going to have some issues, I think, with people like me who haven't really, and again, I'm not voting, but people like me who have had a problem with how uncommitted she seems to have been in the area of these Gaza protests, and who are these people that are protesting, and where is the line between freedom of expression and just, propaganda for terror organizations. She's been a little bit, she's been courting the extreme left a little bit, Not today, though. Today, she put out a huge statement. She condemned the demonstrations that got out of hand yesterday, where they... Can I also say this? You hear some bullshit. And how long have I been talking about this? Okay, you people who are here every day with us, you've heard me saying all the way back in April, why are we all just ignoring the fact that these protesters are flying Hamas flags? Guess what everybody's talking about now in July? How long have we been? That's right, Barney. We've been talking about this for months and months, and it's been completely ignored. I am all for the liberation and fair treatment of the people of Gaza. But let's not conflate that there are two movements there. There are the people who we are all trying to defend, and then there is the element of Hamas, who is everywhere. And at these demonstrations, for months now, I've been coming on this show saying, yeah, I saw the protesters hanging out over the bridge there on 75 again, flying Hamas flags. There is a difference. You make sure you understand the difference between the flag of Gaza and the flag of Hamas. They're very different. They're both green primarily, but they're very different. And I've been saying this for a long time. Be careful of who you think you're supporting in this, because there are dudes flying terror flags openly. Maybe it's because it's just not as recognizable to us as maybe a Nazi symbol. But whenever there's a gathering and somebody unfurls a Nazi flag, we're always quick to point that one out. So as I've been saying for months now, why the hell is it that we haven't made mention one of the fact that it is now routine on city street corners to see people carrying flags supporting a known terror organization? The people who we know, the people who took credit for the events of October 7th? Yes, was that it? 10/7? They're in Israel. They did it. They're the people that we're trying to get rid of. Yesterday, and now everybody's talking about it because of what happened in Washington, D.C. Those flags have been flied. Those flags have been flown in American cities for months now. Glad you're just now noticing. And again, see, this is where nuance is important, and you can't just rely on your shortcuts of programming and conditioning. Nuance is important. You can support and understand, or you can feel that the people, the free and innocent people of Gaza, are being unduly harmed by the aggression of the Israelis against the terror organization Hamas. They're in the middle. They're in the middle. You can agree with that. And you can still say, but Hamas is a different thing. That's where the nuance comes in. You have to be able to make that distinction. And the problem with Kamala Harris that she's had now for a couple of months is that she hasn't been all that interested in making the distinction. She was just the protesters and their rights and all that kind of stuff, and again, I should also point this out. She hasn't been in the spotlight on that. She mentioned that a couple of times, 3 different speeches as it was reported today. 3 different speeches over the past 9 months she has mentioned that. But her opponents now are trying to paint her like she's, like Gaza Annie or something, Jane Fonda of the Gaza situation. As of today, though, she has now come out and publicly condemned the actions of the protesters and those flying flags of Hamas and all that stuff. Okay, what else do we have here? The VP picks. Yeah, we wanted to talk about her VP picks. Adam says the Hamas flag is green with white squiggly letters in the middle of it. It says something. I don't speak Hamas. So I don't know what that is, but that's what it looks like. It's a green flag with squiggly letters in there. The Gaza flag is a green flag with a triangle, and there's a star in there, and I don't know. There's a whole bunch going on with the Gaza flag, but it's definitely not the Hamas flag. They are different, and you gotta. I don't support Hamas, but I do support people who I feel are being unduly persecuted for things that they're only tangentially responsible for. And you notice I say tangentially because I do believe that the people of Gaza do bear some responsibility for the current situation. It's wrong and needs to stop, and we need to let up on them. But they are the people who voted Hamas into office. They had a Palestinian Authority. They had a more reasonable and recognized political party that was advocating for them on the world stage. And then they had free elections, and they elected terrorists. So there is some... What is it we like to say in this country? Elections have consequences. They do. So I don't think everybody should be able to vote. Honestly, I think we have too many stupid. I think there should be a test. You need a test to drive, right? Let's have a test. That's un-American. Well, desperate times, people. Desperate times require desperate measures. I do agree that is un-American. All right, let's talk about the VPs. I like Josh Shapiro, but it looks like Mark Kelly is going to be the guy. Mark Kelly, who, let me remind you, Mark Kelly is the husband of Gabby Giffords. Gabby Giffords was a congresswoman there, New Mexico, Arizona. Why did I think Gabby Giffords was New Mexico? Is he Arizona and she's New Mexico, or was she Arizona? It doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. He's married to Gabby Giffords. He's a former fighter pilot and astronaut, like record-setting astronaut. Too bad being an astronaut doesn't matter anymore. Used to matter, but doesn't anymore. He was a fighter pilot, he was an astronaut, and now he's a first-term senator there from Arizona. His wife was shot in the face at a campaign event. She's out in front of a grocery store there on a Saturday afternoon, and some whack job walks up. We don't have political violence in this country. Oh, yeah, we do. Some whack job walks up, shoots her in the face. Poor Gabby Gifford. She has to step down. She has years and years of rehab and learning to, do whatever it is again. Yeah, Mark Kelly. He's going to be our next vice president. He that happened to his wife, and what did he do? He went to space for 2 years. Come on, you can't deny that. He was in space for like 2 years. Now, I'm having a little bit of fun with this because, being an astronaut is hard business. And once you decide you want to be an astronaut, I imagine there's a lot of work that goes into getting your opportunities. And if you get an opportunity to finally go up, if your wife gets shot in the face like a couple weeks earlier, maybe you don't give it up. Maybe you just go to space instead of nursing her back to health. And again, I'm being disingenuous. I do think that's a funny situation, though. His wife gets shot in the face and he goes to space for 2 years. He spent more time at the ISS than anybody else, right? Isn't that his record? He was up there. They're like, hey, Mark, you want to go home? And he's like, nah, my wife, it's kind of gross down there. It's all, I'm gonna stay up for another tour. Now he's expected to be the favorite. They're saying he is the favorite as of today. Mark Kelly. Is it Mark Kelly? It's Mark Kelly. Here's the other thing about him. He's a twin, right? What does his brother do? Does his brother do anything? Is his brother important too? I think his brother's also an astronaut. Anyway, Mark Kelly, he's the one that they're saying she's going to pick. I think that she should go with Josh Shapiro. Again, if I was a strategist, I would go, let's lock down the Jewish vote. Let's lock that down and let's give them the first Jewish executive here in the United States. Not chief executive, but vice executive. I think that that's a combination. That's a combination. I think that if I'm a Democratic strategist, that is a combination that could energize groups of people who are not necessarily just down with the whole MAGA movement. And that is, after all, the number one goal here. That's why Biden stepped down. The goal is to win. I think they do that with Shapiro. Let's not fuck around. Let's go ahead and put Pennsylvania in the Dem column, and then we'll see in Michigan. We'll see you in Michigan. April says it's Arizona for both. Yeah, I don't know why. Desert Southwest. I guess that was it. But Gabby Giffords, I didn't really. She wasn't a very high-profile congresswoman until she got shot. She was one of like the 300 Congress people who nobody knows because they're actually just doing work and stuff. They're not like, trying to get on Fox News and saying stupid shit like Marjorie Taylor Greene and all that nonsense. Or AOC, trying to be fair. They're all idiots. April Michelle says Mark was in space as the commander. He retired when mission was complete the same year of shooting. All right, so then maybe it's his brother. Is it his brother who went and set the record in space? That's not nearly as funny for the purpose of my... Anyway, Mark Kelly, he is the front runner, they say, for the choice of vice president. Again, man, I'm sorry. This is all like... He's like dad porn. He's like a dad porn. Like they couldn't go out and get another hot chick, right? Like so like remember when McCain got Sarah Palin? The metric was she's a hot chick and dads will vote. Mark Kelly is kind of that because dads aren't gonna like really flock to Kamala. So they got to put a dude in there who's a fighter pilot and an astronaut. That's what they're going for. I get it, but still, I think Josh Shapiro is a more certain. I think she's afraid of Josh Shapiro, though. That's an interesting thing that I heard. One of the things that she's going to have to do, Kamala, should she win, is that she is going to have to very early on establish herself. She's going to have to show strength almost immediately that this is her administration. People are saying, that Josh Shapiro is a dude who's a real comer himself, and that she might be, checking her blind spot with Josh Shapiro on the ticket. Whereas they say that Mark why can't I think of his name now? I can't believe I need to look up Mark Kelly's name. Whereas Mark Kelly is more of a military man, and they believe that he'll follow the orders of the administration. Shapiro could be a wildcat. I still say we go with Shapiro. They want to win. Let's see here. What is this about? J.D. Vance. Let's talk about the other side now for a minute. J.D. Vance, he's out there. He's in a fight now with Jennifer Aniston. Is this what's happening here? I guess J.D. Vance said that people without kids, or he called Kamala, let me get this right, a childless cat lady. That's a thing now? See, I told you this a couple days ago. I saw in one of the memos that they circulated that they were going to try and paint one of the Republican talking point memos. I don't know if you're familiar with these things, but they go around, and when you work in radio and stuff, you can get on mailing lists and you find these things. They get sent to you every day. Here's what you need to talk about to support MAGA. So I told you that one of their things was that they were going to try to make Kamala Harris look weird, and that they were going to use J.D. Vance for that, which, this is the guy now who's all over the internet for fucking a couch, right? That's his thing. Apparently he wrote in his book that he fucked a couch. He used to jerk off on the couch or something like that, whatever, very weird shit. And they're going to try and make Kamala weird, which not difficult. Kamala's pretty weird. Kamala's a little, she's not normal. There's something there. But, all of these people who are grasping for that brass ring, they're all a little bit off kilter. So you got to expect a little bit of that. But I just thought that was misguided, that they were going to try and go after using J.D. Vance to call her weird, which is, epic projection, of course. But because J.D. Vance is pretty weird. It looks like he wears makeup. He's out there. He's like, I'm a good old hillbilly from Yale who worked as a venture capitalist in San Francisco, y'all. I mean, it's all very weird. It's like, what are you trying to do here, man? I'm one of y'all. Oh, yeah, you got out as quick as you could. You went to Yale, you went to Silicon Valley, and then San Francisco, running a venture, not running, but we were associated a venture capital firm. Whatever. Okay, you're successful, but don't act like, y'all hillbilly. And by the way, it's another thing that's happening. Andy Beshear, who is the governor of Kentucky, who is a guy who I kind of like, but I don't know anything about him. I just know him from, you look at the stats on paper. And I'm like, Andy Beshear looks like he could be something, but I don't really know him because he's not as high profile. But apparently now Andy Beshear is taking on J.D. Vance for the title of America's favorite hillbilly, which I don't think is a great calculation on the part of Andy Beshear, governor of Kentucky. He's like, you ain't no hillbilly. I'm a hillbilly. I'm born and raised in Kentucky. Your family, I'm seriously, this is what these two Ivy League educated rich white guys are doing to each other. Here's why it's misguided on the part of Andy Beshear. Andy Beshear is not a hillbilly. Andy Beshear's dad was the governor of Kentucky. He's a rich kid. He's a silver spoon. He's educated at all the same places. But he's like, I'm Andy Beshear, and I'm the real hillbilly. And so, stop it. Nobody wants to be a hillbilly. That's not aspirational. That's fucking, when is being a hillbilly aspirational? Now all of a sudden we're being force-fed some idea that it's perfectly okay to fuck your cousin. What is happening? Exactly. Somebody fill me in. We're supposed to be better than that. I'm white trash and I love it. Okay. And by the way, that's a word now, right? That you can't say. Like I just said that word, white trash. And now will this show never be available on YouTube? Because YouTube's like, hey, it's a racist. April says, dang, in a wiki hole now. Both twin brothers are prostate cancer survivors. Oh, April is doing a Mark and what's the other guys? Paul? Mark and Paul. What's the dude's name? It's Mark Kelly and his brother Jamal. Is it Jamal Kelly? That doesn't sound right. I don't think. All right. So anyway, J.D. Vance is trying to make Kamala Harris seem weird by calling her a childless cat lady. This is backfired on him, and now there's like millions of women just flooding social media, humiliating JD Vance. Probably not the first time JD Vance has been humiliated by a bunch of women at one time, but this is turned into a Jennifer Aniston issue now. Now we've got Jennifer Aniston involved. Apparently Jennifer Aniston does not like that she was referred to, but Kamala Harris was called a childless weird cat lady or whatever, and Jennifer Aniston feels like she has been attacked. And here's what she has to say. Let's see. Since when is Yahoo making me accept? Jennifer Aniston wants to pray for JD Vance in rare political dig. Yeah, I don't really think of her as being all that political. I don't know what she is. Jennifer Aniston on Wednesday slammed Senator J.D. Vance for past comments on women who don't have children. This is so not good. This is just not where they need to be going. That party and that ticket, unless they are just doubling down on the whole men and women belong in the kitchen, if that is their campaign in 2024 with 40 million new registered Gen Z voters, that's a fucking losing thing. Maybe Trump doesn't even want to be president. Maybe it's like last time where he was just trying to gather up a war chest and create all of this, influence around the globe. That's what he wanted. He wanted a tower in Russia. He didn't think he was going to win. Hell, nobody thought he was going to win. Maybe he's doing that again this time. They're doubling down on this shit. J.D. Vance is attacking the nation's women who don't have kids. You know how many women don't have kids? Jennifer Aniston. She can't have kids. Jennifer Aniston he's also anti-IVF, which, by the way, congratulations. Today is the birthday of the very first in vitro fertilization, Louise somebody. I mentioned her earlier. Jennifer Aniston has been struggling to have children for years and years. She goes through the IVF. She talks about it, whatever. So now she's looking at J.D. Vance, and J.D. Vance is like, you're childless and you're a weird cat person, and she feels that he's describing her because, I don't know. Look, let me tell you something. If 55-year-old Jennifer Aniston is what he's describing as a childless cat person, sign me up. Sign me up to hang out with that crew because she still looks amazing. She can't have kids, trying to have kids. She's mad at him for fighting IVF and all that stuff. Jen Aniston on Wednesday slammed Senator J.D. Vance for past comments on women who don't have children. The Friends star took aim at Donald Trump's new running mate for griping to Tucker Carlson in a 2021 interview that the country was run by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made. Well, that is a really interesting way for you to justify the fact that none of these women will talk to you in bars. That seems what this is about. That seems some very incel-like, and by the way, we know what incels are. Incels are just fucking guys with no game who can't get laid. And because they refuse to try and change these things about themselves, they decide the best track is just hate on women and queer off with their buddies on the down low. Bunch of weird-ass incels. J.D. Vance. The Friends star, it says here, Vance mentioned Vice President Kamala Harris, who is a stepmom. Okay. I don't want to get into that whole thing. You know what I want to get into? You want to know something that I think is going to be kind of a problem for Kamala Harris? Actually, I don't think it's going to be a problem. I don't think it's going to be a problem for the people that would ever consider voting for her. But something that MAGA is going to grasp onto, and I don't know that they really have yet. I posted like when this happened, my very first thought after it was announced that Biden wasn't running, what was this, Saturday, and that Kamala would be the new person. I posted a picture of Kamala's stepdaughter. And I said, wait till America gets a load of her. I'm telling you, I have been fascinated by Kamala Harris's stepdaughter for about a year. I don't know when it was that I first saw her. Actually, I think maybe it might even go back to the inauguration. I think I first spotted her at the inauguration. Kamala Harris's stepdaughter is, oh my God, she is just absolutely everything that the MAGA worldview stands for. She's she's a girl, she's a model, but she's not attractive. She's like one of these ugly models. Like, I don't mean to say it that way. Like, she probably could be attractive, but she's like got like really weird hair and big giant Coke bottle glasses, and she's always trying to dress interestingly ironic. You know, I just think she's gonna say some shit. I think that she's going. Let me show her to you. What's her name? Hold on. L something? Ella Emhoff. That's what it is, right? Ella Emhoff. Let's look at her. Hold on. I'm telling you, America's going to have fun with this chick. But I also think that she can handle it. Okay. She's like a Brooklyn artist, you know, probably very interesting, probably also very irritating. I bet she's irritating as fuck. But anyway, here she is. This is going to be the first stepdaughter. All right, that's one of her looks. There's another one of her looks. That's interesting. She's a model. She's like a successful working model. That's one of her looks. Okay, okay. Can I direct your attention to her underarm hair? She doesn't appear to. Look, I know that these are all very silly things. I find her to be an interesting person. I find Kamala Harris's stepdaughter to be an incredibly interesting person. That's all I'm saying. Look at her here. She looks fine here. This is, whatever. I'm just pointing out that there are a whole bunch of people out there that as soon as her profile, Ella Emhoff, as soon as her profile gets raised, I think she's going to be the butt of a lot of jokes. I think she's going to take a whole lot of heat for the way she looks and the way she carries herself. There's Kamala. Okay, here we go. Who is this? Is that the dude from Train? Who's she hanging out with? That's like a rock star guy. No, is that the dude from Maroon 5? Or is that the dude from Matchbox 20? I don't know. There you go. Look at that outfit. That's awful. All right, there you go. Anyway, I think she's going to be fun. I think MAGA's going to have some fun with old Ella Emhoff. Let's see here. MC Lars has a song about her called Hipster Girl. Who's MC Lars? Never heard of MC Lars. All right. What else? Childless cat ladies. Jennifer Aniston's upset because she's like, don't make fun of kitten. Whatever. We'll get on from that. Okay, here's one. This is pretty shocking. Not at all for me because I've been kind of going, guys, can we wait to see? So you know how all week the Secret Service and people involved in the protection of a president and all that stuff, all these people, they've been dragged out in front of Congress all week long. Of course, we had the director of Cheadle. We had the director of the Secret Service. After her grilling by both sides, she resigned, so she's out of there. But it didn't just stop with her. They're also talking to agents, and they're talking to people from Butler County, Pennsylvania. We told you yesterday about how the Butler County commissioner, gentleman by the name of Commissioner Paris, he said that there were 8 shots that were fired at the president. 8. He also said that they were chasing the suspect around for quite some time before those shots. They knew he was there and they couldn't find him. He also mentioned, this is Commissioner of Butler County, Pennsylvania. He mentioned in front of Congress yesterday that there was a text thread going on among local law enforcement who were searching for the guy who would eventually try to take those shots at President Trump. Okay, so that's what's been going on all week. Yesterday, we had Chris Wray, director of the FBI. They called up the director of the FBI. Chris Wray. I mean, look, I know because he's not your director of the FBI. Like, if you're not somebody who voted for Biden, I know that this FBI is illegitimate and will only become legitimate once your guy wins and appoints another. Come on, I know how it works. But Chris Wray of the FBI, if you have any faith in institutions, he's there and they get all the information and they're looking through it all. And Chris Wray, like me, does not believe that Trump was shot. Chris, director of the FBI, is like, yeah, we're not entirely all in agreement that he got shot. We think it was shrapnel. He didn't say that. I'm going to tell you exactly what he said. He didn't get shot, guys. He didn't get shot. I've seen doctors and surgeons. I've heard the doctor who didn't need to stitch him up talking about it. That doctor doesn't think he was shot. They don't know. The FBI's direct, but at every campaign stop now, it's like, I got shot. You got shot at. And that is really bad. And I would like to know how somebody got into a position to take a shot at you. Let's figure that out. You got shot at. Well, but I got blood. Yeah, it's from the prompter. Or as Ray said, shrapnel. He just described it as shrapnel. The FBI director has cast doubt on whether Donald Trump was struck by a bullet during the attempt on his life at a Pennsylvania political rally. Christopher Wray was updating Congress about the assassination attempt on Trump in Butler on Wednesday when he made the explosive statement. Here's the quote now from Chris Wray. With respect to former President Trump, there is some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel that hit his ear. I don't know right now whether that bullet, in addition to causing the grazing, could have landed somewhere else. We just don't know. Wray was addressing security failures that allowed gunman Thomas Matthew Crooks to open fire. Okay, blah, blah, blah. We don't care about that. And also, you can say it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter. It really, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't matter. What happened was we got lucky that the assassin was incompetent and he couldn't do 8 shots. He fired 8 times from a sniper's position, killed some poor guy. Bunch of kids got to grow up now without a dad because this idiot was, where was he shooting? Is he got like a lazy eye? Does he not understand scoping? I just don't understand it. So they're saying 8 shots. Now, I know if you're upset by any of this that I'm saying, and I'm just reading this stuff, if you're upset by any of it, just feel free to just call it fake news because that's the world we live in now. If something disagrees, if you don't agree with things, you can just always go into your delusion and fake news. So, but he wasn't shot, you guys. He didn't get shot. All right, now here's the thing. It's bad that somebody was able to get there because God forbid that person was confident. 8 shots, my God, at that range. So now you say, well, then why does it matter? It doesn't matter. There's multiple levels as to what's happening here. It very much matters that somebody was able to get a gun that close to a president and pull the trigger. That very much matters, okay? Now, whether or not that gun hit him in the ear or not, he's fine, okay? So we know it really doesn't matter unless you already think that he's a deceptive, duplicitous guy who will use absolutely anything to immortalize and aggrandize himself, which I do, that's it. Last Friday Thursday at the convention or was it the day after the convention? It was either last Thursday night or last Friday. Trump said, and I'm going to quote him now, all right, I'll tell the story one last time, but I can't talk about it anymore because it's so painful. That's what he said a week ago about talking about the assassination attempt. Wasn't going to talk about it anymore because it's painful. But he's going to share it with you good people here today because you're special, but this is the last time. That dude has talked about it every single time he's opened his mouth since. That's the kind of shit that bothers me about him. I don't know from policies. I don't give a fuck about his policies. He's just a slimy dude. And you can either see that and be like, oh, that's a bad person. That is not somebody I'd loan my car to for the weekend. See, that's who he is. It's not about his politics. And that's why it matters whether or not we can conclusively determine whether or not he was shot or whether or not that is caused by shrapnel. And I'm going to start calling it shrapnel because I have no idea if the shrapnel came from a teleprompter, a stage light, or anything else that idiot with the gun could have hit. I don't know. But Christopher Wray, the leader of the FBI, director of the FBI, Christopher Wray, does not believe that he was shot. He thinks it was shrapnel. All right. So do I. How about this one here? Tupac's killer. Anybody interested in what's going on with Tupac's killer? Tupac's killer. Remember him about a year ago? He got picked up in Las Vegas. They put him in jail. He's charged with conspiracy when was that? Like 1995 or something? Murder of Tupac Shakur in Las Vegas following a big heavyweight championship fight. So it'd been decades of absolutely no movement on this story. And then about a year ago, this guy gets arrested. So the guy got arrested. And now he's looking to get out pre-trial. He's looking to get out on bond or whatever. Apparently somebody's going to pay for him to get out. So he's going to get out and he's going to await trial free, right? He's an old man. He's not, obviously he would almost have to be because if he was it's 30 years ago. So he's an older man, and he's trying to get out while he awaits trial for the murder of Tupac Shakur. Now, the prosecution is arguing that he should not be let out. And the defense is saying, well, why not? Why can't he be let out? He's an old man. This crime was 30 years ago. What are you trying to prove here? And the prosecution said, because last year when we interviewed him, he said that Puffy, P. Diddy, came up to him back before the assassination of Tupac and asked him if he would do a hit on Tupac for 7 figures. So this is when he was first arrested. He started talking to cops and he's like, yeah, man, they would come to me because, I'm like the guy on the streets. And P. Diddy offered me 7 figures to kill Tupac. He was trying to deflect in his police interview. He was trying to put the hunt onto P. Diddy. All right, so that was years ago when this happened. So now he's trying to get out. And the prosecution is going back to his police interview, and they're arguing that we can't let him out. He's a guy on the streets who is known to do hits for money. Oh, exactly, right? He running his mouth. Big dumb street hustler thinking he's going to impress cops with a better story. And then a year later, that story he told cops is the reason he can't get out on bail. Your Honor, this guy is obviously somebody who the streets recognize as an assassin for hire. He can't be let out. So how's he going to pay his court fees? He may just be that assassin for hire. Anyway, that's what's going on there in Las Vegas with the killer Tupac. He might actually get out, though. Let me hit the they're not entirely certain that argument from the prosecution is going to work. I just thought it was kind of clever and funny because it came from his own mouth. Let's talk here about the NBA on TNT, right? So TNT lost the NBA after 40 years of being, I don't know. I never thought of TNT as the primary. It's always like the secondary home. Like the good games, there's a really good game. It was going to be on one of the networks or maybe. My point is this. I always thought of the NBA on TNT as a bit of an afterthought, but now that TNT has lost their contract with the NBA, now everybody's acting like, this is Christmas. They're taking Christmas away from us. And I'm like, okay. Now the TNT team, certainly, for the rank and file day in and day out games of an NBA season, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whenever the games are on, you get Ernie, you get KJ, you got Shaq, you got Charles. That's a great show. I would argue that's a great show. And it actually doesn't need to happen during a game. You could just put those guys up there and just let them rip on each other. There's great chemistry. So that's going to be over, I guess, because Charles Barkley says that if TNT isn't the home of the NBA, he's done. He's retiring. Ernie Johnson, who is, come on. To me, he's, you can't have, he's got to be involved. He's not. They're not going to be involved. Ernie Johnson says, I'm staying at TNT. Don't know what they're going to do. What are they going to get? Like, European League, they ain't going to get the WNBA because the WNBA is part of this deal. I don't even know if they'd want the WNBA. But here's what's happening. Amazon Prime came in and offered an amount of money that was ridiculous to the NBA for their basketball contract. TNT, because they've been the partner with the NBA on this for 40 years, was given a matching right. So TNT saw what Amazon and Bezos were offering, and TNT said, no, too rich for our blood. So they decided not to pursue it. But then they came back and they said, no, you know what? Since this looks like it's going to go through, we will match you at the last minute. We will match you. And TNT matched Amazon Prime. And the NBA still said, nah, not going to work like that. Sorry. So now TNT, Time Warner, Warner Brothers, all of that stuff, they are taking the NBA to court. There is a lawsuit that is now going to bubble over. So if you think that it's over with the NBA and TNT, don't, because apparently this is now going to be adjudicated by a judge. Here's the story. Flagrant foul. Warner Brothers Discovery threatens appropriate action against NBA after league rejects matching bid. Warner Brothers Discovery may have been late to the game, but the TNT owner isn't about to let Amazon Prime Video snatch its NBA ball without a fight. Here's a quote now from the people in charge there at Amazon or at TNT. It says, "We have matched the Amazon offer as we have a contractual right to do, and do not believe the NBA can reject it." TNT said in a statement Wednesday after the Adam Silver-led league decided in favor of Amazon Prime Video as one of the three main. My God. There are 3 rights holders to NBA. I guess I didn't realize it was this involved. It says here the NBA and the WNBA now have an 11-year-long deal with Disney, which is ESPN and ABC, Prime Video, and additionally NBC Universal. So 11 years. That's starting 25-26. So what do we... 25, 20. Okay, so we get one more season on TNT, I guess. I guess there's one more season on TNT, but then starting 25, 26 NBA season, it's going to be only on ESPN, Prime Video, or NBC Universal. The new agreements effectively ended TNT's almost 40-year-long partnership with the NBA. The new 11-year deals total around $76 billion to the NBA and WNBA. NBA. They're gonna throw some table. Come on, $76 billion. Nobody's paying. Nobody. That $76 billion is for the NBA. Let's stop including the WNBA in there. Although, hey, hats off to the WNBA. Apparently, the largest audience for the All-Star, whatever, WNBA All-Star game. Anyway, they did 3.3 million people. That, in this era of television, that's a lot of eyeballs for any single event at a given time. So you can't take that away from them. WNBA, people are interested. Let's see, what else do we have here? Okay, so do you remember? Well, here, we'll just watch this. We'll just watch the story. Why not? Do you remember when at the border up there in Niagara
developing
Falls,
story out of
about a year ago, maybe? It was cool. It was a crazy video. We didn't understand it. Everybody thought there was a terror attack going on. It was at the border between Canada and America up there near Niagara Falls, and a supercar, a Bentley Flying Spur, suddenly accelerated, went airborne up a ramp, came down, and exploded like a Hollywood film. I mean, it was Bruckheimer. And we were all like, what's going on? And then remember, there was like a terror report, and they closed down the whole Rainbow Bridge passing, which I guess is a significant bridge. I'm unfamiliar with that part of the country, but it certainly looks to be significant. They closed it all down, and they're like, did they blow it up? And these guys were, who's the rich guy? You know, the rich guy with a bunch of bombs in his car. That's what they thought. Here's the story. I'm going to just make sure we've got this showing. All right, let's watch this, and then I'll give you the update.
To a developing story out of New York at the Canadian border. You see flames in the video off to my right. Authorities say they are investigating after a vehicle crashed and exploded on the Rainbow Bridge near Niagara Falls, killing 2 people. The shocking video was caught on camera. You can see as the car goes flying airborne there in the back of the picture. The car flies out of frame before officials say it crashed at a secondary U.S. checkpoint, bursting into flames. Authorities say the driver was going upwards of 100 miles an hour and clarified that it was the high rate of speed that led to the crash, and are trying to emphasize that this was not a terrorist attack.
I want to be very, very clear to Americans and New Yorkers.
All right. Anyway, that's all we need from that. You remember that story. Well, they've closed the books on it. They've decided that they know exactly what it was. This is not a terror attack. There was no drunk driving. There was no suicidal. It was a married couple, 53 years old, both of them, seemingly happily married, successful couple. I mean, they're driving a supercar. They're in a Bentley Flying Spur. So what happened? How did this thing happen? Well, guess what they determined? They determined that the Bentley Flying Spur has a problem with the accelerator in that it sticks, and that these 2 people had actually complained about the sticking accelerator in the weeks leading up to this incident. So that's what happened, rich people. You spend $200,000 on a car for something that's going to happen to you that isn't going to happen to me in my Malibu. My Malibu is never going to have an accelerator stick. Take me from 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, which that car is said to be able to do. They hit that ramp that they went flying off of at 100 miles per hour. That's what you get for these $100,000 cars, Bentley. So it's closed off. The case is closed. And now it's just going to be all about what Bentley's going to do. Bentley is here. Actually, there's a story here because Bentley is like, yeah, you know, we've kind of thought there was an issue with the here. I'm going to give you exactly what Bentley says. Mystery deepens into Bentley driver Kurt Villani, who plowed $300,000 flying spur supercar. $300,000 for that thing and the accelerator sticks? Oh, see, no way. I'd be so, if I paid $300,000 for a car and like, I don't know, the radio knob was a little bit loose, I would lose my shit. I'd be like, what? Kurt and Monica Villani, both 53, were incinerated in a huge fireball at the Rainbow Bridge in Niagara Falls. The couple from Western New York were in a 2022 Bentley Flying Spur, which can go from 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. Well, we saw it. We saw that it can go airborne. Anyway, state of New York have concluded their investigation, and they're putting it all on Bentley. And now Bentley, ball is in your court. I wanted to mention this because I saw this. I didn't read this story. I just said, I can just riff on that based on the headline alone. But let's find out what it is. Apparently, there is something called the Jetson Law. This is a new law. New Jetson Law paves the way for flying cars. And it's going to go into effect on August 1st. What is the Jetson Law? It will allow future aircraft to be classified as vehicles. The law effectively allows flying cars and regulates where they can take. So now we just got to invent them. The easy part. So we have a law now that says that if we have a private vehicle that can fly, that's okay. We now have, all right, let me get this right. The law effectively allows flying cars. Minnesota has now passed a new road law being called the Jetson Law. So it's just Minnesota? Those people are odd. State lawmakers passed the so-called Jetson Law, which goes into effect on August 1st. The legislation officially defines a roadable aircraft as a vehicle that can both fly and drive on public highways. So are we now going to have a bunch of those dudes? Have you ever seen those guys flying in those go-karts with gigantic fans? And they're just like, I don't know what and they fly around. It looks like the most dangerous, fucked up thing you could ever imagine, but yet they seem pretty common. Is that what we're talking about? Those things are now totally legal. I can be going down 635 and get into a jam there at the high five, and I can just take off and fly over it all. Is that what they're saying? Well, not here, obviously. But if I lived in Minnesota, is that what they're saying? Remember, people, flying cars will never be a thing. You know why? Because we can't trust ourselves with cars that rely on gravity. Do you honestly think that at some point we're going to have like every idiot that's on the road now up there flying around at 1,000 feet over houses and schools and playgrounds? You don't think these idiots who can't keep their car on the road and not hit a tree or a light post or something like that, you think these morons are going to be able to stay in the clouds for 1,000 feet without crashing into your kid's middle school at lunchtime? We're not going to have flying cars. That's madness. You people are fools. Now, do we have the technology for it? Oh, shit, yeah. Fuck yeah. We should have had flying cars 30 years ago. We could have flying cars. We can do that. That's easy. I just told you about the dudes who fly around on go-karts with giant fans attached to them. Jetson Law, Minnesota. All right, let's talk about Harley Davidson. Last year it was Bud Light. Now it's Harley Davidson. That's right. They're coming for Harley Davidson. And when I say they're coming, I'm talking about the people who hate cancel culture, but yet seem to lead the charge on just about everything. That's right. Harley Davidson is the latest all-American brand to face a boycott over Pride events. Oh, boy. You know, I don't think, is this like people when they found out that Freddie Mercury was gay? Is this like when people found out Freddie Mercury were gay, they was like, what? I mean, are you just now finding out that biker culture is very gay? Did you not? Come on. I want you to picture the Village People. One of them was a biker guy. Are you unfamiliar with leather culture and biker culture within the homosexual? So, you know, look, Harley Davidson probably has, I don't know about for their bikes, but certainly for their gear, for their clothing, for their assless chaps. Very popular with the gay community. I'm just pointing that out. So it wouldn't surprise me to learn that Harley Davidson has participated in some form of a pride event from, they're all over the country. The iconic motorcycle maker Harley Davidson is the latest all-American brand to get slammed by conservatives over its inclusion policies and supporting pride events. The $6 billion a year firm, known for its macho and rebellious and gay, pointing it out, gay. Harley's a very gay brand. I'm sorry. I know you're just figuring this out. And just again, the band was called Queen. Okay, the band was called Queen, and you're like, really? He was gay? Some of you, I just don't know what to do with. So anyway, yeah, Harley Davidson, they're long and historic in the gay community. The $6 billion a year firm, known for its macho and rebellious images, faces a backlash after campaigners exposed its diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts and urged riders to steer clear. All right, so here's the problem. Dudes who drive Harleys, who also happen to be like conservative and MAGA, like their Harleys more. I promise you. Harley people are not going to suddenly stay. It ain't like Bud Light drinkers who have like a million. Look, Bud Light costs what, $15 a case? All right. So if you want to be one of these guys at the rally that boycotts Bud Light, you can just move over to Coors Light. You can't do that with Harley Davidson. There's not going to be people who buy and ride Harley Davidsons who are suddenly like, hey, the Hondas are looking good. It's not a thing. So stop it. Stop trying to ruin Harley Davidson. Yeah, gay dudes like Harleys. Gay dudes like bikers. Sorry. I'm just saying. All right, here's another thing here. This one's got me a little bit ragey, a little bit upset about this. There's an airline, and I don't know why. You know why? Here's why. I'm a middle-aged narcissist. That's why. And I'm a guy, and I'm just tired of taking shit for just simply being a guy. I'm telling you what I'm really tired of. I'm tired of a whole bunch of my other fellow guys out there acting like assholes. And now we've got something like this. There is an airline that is now allowing women to look at the seating arrangements before they book their seat and choose or opt specifically not to sit next to a man. Yeah. Think about that, chat room, right? You know who can't do? We can't do that. Guys can't do that. You know why guys can't do that? I'll tell you why guys can't do that. We can't do that because we would specifically sit next to chicks. We'd be like, oh, single chick flying alone? Because we're weird like that. Because we have testicles and they're filled with hormones and they make us do things and they make us, decisions are not like as firm and crisp as they should be at times because women. Okay, so the Indian Airline, it's an airline in India. And this makes sense to me. And I'll tell you why. And I might get in trouble. Some of my Indian friends might not like what I'm about to say, but I'm going there. Okay. This is the first airline where women can request not to sit next to men. That's the headline. It says here, one airline is making it easier to calm women's anxieties when it comes to flying. They've become the first airline to allow women to request not to be seated next to a man. It's based in India. Indigo is what it's called, has announced a pioneering new policy allowing women to view the gender of the passengers sitting around them before booking. They'll be able to choose to sit next to a woman if they'd prefer, which they'll be able to do by viewing the seat plan ahead of flying. And of course, it's pink for women, blue for boys. No idea how they're going to handle the trans, fluid, gender, whatever people that want to fly. So immediately when I heard about this, I went, I got all up in my guy stuff. I'm a guy. I'm tired of this. This falling on the heels of that. Remember the women? Would you feel safer in the woods if you encountered a man or a grizzly bear? And all the women were like, I'd rather encounter a grizzly bear. And it's like, good Lord. And of course, you programmed to say stupid shit like that. Good luck with that, by the way. Good luck. So you're telling me that you would rather encounter a grizzly bear than a park ranger. You think the grizzly bear is going to be... So now we got this. Now we're not even capable of women don't even want to sit next to men. That's what this is. Women feel so fearful of us. I mean, I've never been a woman. I can imagine. All right, so I've processed it. So we've gone through this now, and I've completely processed the idea that that's fine. Whatever. I don't care. I don't care. They ain't sit next to me. When do you get to pick your seats? Is this something I fly Southwest? Don't you just sit wherever you want? I guess that's the difference, right? The new initiative was spurred by a survey issued to female customers who were asked how their travel experience could be made more comfortable. And they said, basically, not sitting next to strange men. Okay, now let's get into the portion of this where I say some things that people from India might be upset with. It has nothing to do with the fact that it's India. It has to do with the fact that it is a nation, an emerging nation. This is an airline, Indigo, a low-cost regional airline in an emerging economy. India is a power, man. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying anything, but India is a power, and they're putting it all together, and they got a whole bunch of people there, and, look out. But, for the last 100 years or so, it's been pretty rough, right? Like, I've seen I shouldn't say this, a lot of slums. There you go. Slumdog Millionaire. I'm just telling you what Hollywood has told me about life in India. A lot of times, when that's where you're from, I guess my point is this. I'm trying to say that I think that the average Indian dude who is flying from Bhopal to Mumbai, just on a little commuter flight there, I think that dude's probably a little bit more aggressive when it comes to women than the average American guy. I think that they're still living in the 1970s as far as what you can and can't get away with a chick. I'm just saying. Immigrants to America are sometimes a little bit slower with, what is the expected norm of today. Like, I honestly, I don't know what the expected norm is today. That's why I don't date. I have no idea. Actually, that's not why I don't date. There's a lot of reasons why I don't date. But seriously, I wouldn't know how today. Have no clue. All I know is that I'm a man and I'm apparently a predator, and that half the women in this country would rather run into a grizzly bear in the woods than me. Thank you. What else do we have here? Oh, boy, I'll tell you, this rant is really, I'm losing my voice today. They're going to make me re-sign in. Hold on a second. Let's see here. One more time, let's readdress our friends. Peter, KB, Adam. Let's see. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I just lost the chat. Did you guys get all lost? Hi to Mikey D. Hi to Peter. Hi to Barney. Hi to Peter again. Hi to Jeff. Hi to Tyranda. Why can't I do this? Hi to Cameron. Hi to Frankie. What's up? Jameson is here. Peter L is here. Doug is here. Jen Hernando. Oh, we got all the Jens in here today. Shmee is hanging out with us. I'm sorry, guys. I've been ignoring you today. I've been ignoring you. All right, let's see what else we got here. So Peter's saying that Southwest is now doing assigned seating, or it's coming. Peter says Southwest is now doing assigned seating. Kevin says the same thing. What is this? Hold on. Am I getting into it with somebody here in the chat room? Because I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to see. Hold on. I got to find this. Sorry. Oh, so this is going back. Thank you. I'm sorry. I was just going back through the chat as we're wrapping up today's show. Adam says he mentioned someone named MC Lars. And MC Lars is a mostly talentless rapper who does nerd shit, and he mostly sucks. Okay. Very good. Very good. They're going to make me... Guys, hold on. We need to take a quick time out here. I got to re-sign in. Now it's taking forever to sign me back in. All right, here we go. Powerade. Remember, every day I'm going to try and sample a different energy drink or rehydration drink. Today, Powerade. Yesterday was Body Armor, although I didn't showcase it the way. So I like the Body Armor was okay. The Powerade is all right. In the coming days, I hope to have some exotic energy drinks for you to tell you which I think are good and which I think are ugh. All right, let's see here. Where are we? Let's move back in. I know I got another story we're going to go to here. I know I got a story about road raging that I wanted to talk to you about because it's a bit surprising to me. Let's see here. The way I'm moving around in my seat, can you guys tell that I need to go to the bathroom? I do. Okay, here you go. New list. You know, we like to sometimes end with a nice little list of fun facts. Well, here's a list of the states where road raging is the worst. So which states road rage more? Now, what do you think? You're Texans, right? Are you guys just immediately by default going, well, it's Texas, but who's number 2? Well, let's see. Let's find out. I'm not even saying that it is Texas. I'm saying that we're going to work our way through this list. And we're going to find out exactly which states you have the most likely, or you are most likely to encounter some sort of road rage incident. Where do people road rage the most? Number 10, state of Maryland. State of Maryland. I don't know anything about the state of Maryland. I've crossed through there a couple of times. It seems very green and very lush. Don't know why. But Maryland is number 10. Number 9 in the road ragiest states, New York State. New York State. Number 8 in the road ragiest states. Number 8 is Indiana. Indiana, which is so stupid. I drive through and why are they road raging? Oh, I know why they're road raging in Indiana. Oh, I just figured it out. Because I was thinking about driving through Indiana because I've driven from Chicago to Indianapolis many times. It's a short little ride. But you go literally just through the guts of Indiana. It's just cornfield. There's just nothing. Here's what it is. Here's where I bet a bunch of the road raging getting stuck behind tractors in Indiana. Those things are everywhere, and they're going like 10 miles an hour in a 35. It's just absurd. All right, so maybe that's it. Indiana is number 8, but let's not get too quick here. Indiana is number 8, tied with Virginia. Virginia and Indiana are tied at number 8. That means Virginia and Indiana are also tied at number 7. Top 6 states for road raging. Here you go. This is the one time this state isn't number 1. Mississippi. This is the one bad category that Mississippi is not number 1 in. Like Mississippi's always number 1 in like morbid obesity, least educated, worst schools, lowest household income, infant mortality. You know, all of those things. Mississippi is usually number 1. Here they're number 6. Number 6, the most road ragey state. All right, top 5. Colorado comes in at number 5. What? That sort of flies in the face of our assumptions about Colorado. Yes, Colorado. Rocky Mountain High, calm, clean air, cool. Maybe it's mountain roads. Twisty, windy, a lot more opportunity for interactions with the other driver. I don't know. Anyway, it's number 5. Colorado is the number 5 most road ragey state in the United States. Number 4, Oklahoma. Oklahoma is number 4. We got to be getting close to Texas, don't we? I mean, now we're talking about Oklahoma, right? Probably because you know that Texas is going to be number 4 most road ragey state, Oklahoma. Number 3 is Utah. What's the problem there? Isn't it just flat? Isn't it just flat and open? What's that? Didn't they used to go? Remember the Blue Flame, the world's fastest car? It was always in the Guinness Book of World Records when we were kids. We're like, look at the Blue Flame. That's where they used to test that thing out there in Utah. There ain't no traffic in Utah. What are people road raging in Utah about? All the women are blonde with beautiful white teeth and gorgeous. Everything's flat. Everything's pretty. I don't know what the problem with people in Utah is. Utah is the number 3 state for road raging in the United States. Number 2 is Missouri. This I understand. Those hillbillies, You want to talk about Mountain Dew drinkers? I swear to God, I think Missouri is like the most hillbilly state. Yeah, I know they've got Kansas City on one side and St. Louis on the other, but the rest of that place is basically the American Balkans. The rest of that is just like, ugh. You guys have seen Ozark, right? You know, Ozark on Netflix. Okay, where do you think the Ozarks are? They're like in the middle of like spooky, scary, hillbilly Mississippi or Missouri. I will give you this, though, about Missouri. And I say this about Arkansas as well. Yeah, I'm going to tell you, Missouri's more hillbilly than Arkansas. That's right. That's right. Spent time in both. They're both gorgeous, though. They should be one state. That should be like the hillbilly central. Arkansas and Missouri, just one giant state. All right, that's number 2. So, of course, the number 1 most road ragey state in America is going to be, say it with me, the great state of California. That's right, California. Texas didn't even make the list. We didn't even make the list as far as road. Do you guys ever have incidents of road rage? I think that most of the incidents of road rage that I'm involved in are caused by me. I'm the one that road rages. So maybe we don't have a road rage problem here in Texas. Maybe I have a problem. Maybe I have a problem processing my emotions effectively, especially in moments that are volatile. California, number 1 most road ragey state in America. Missouri is number 2. Utah is number 3. Oklahoma is 4. Colorado is 5. Mississippi is 6. Virginia and Indiana are tied at 7 and 8. New York is number 9, and number 10 is Maryland. There you go. We're good. We're good here. My home state of Illinois is also good. I don't know how it breaks down after 10. You can do the legwork on that. As for me, I got to get out of here. This has been the Rant for today, Wednesday, July the 25th, year of our Lord 2024. We broadcast live each and every day, Monday through Friday, round about this time, from the fabulous E-Gallery Studios in Dallas's beautiful Design District. We are a part of the Radio Misfits Dallas. Please like, follow, subscribe. All of our well, here's the thing. So this weekend we've got a whole bunch of new platforms that we're rolling out. This week, in my mind, this week was me perfecting the ability to actually do a show here in this environment. We've got other shows that we're working on, but we've got new Facebook, we've got new YouTube and all that stuff. And my promise to you is that we'll be able to talk about that starting on Monday. I've got to become the administrator of them, and I'm not. Long story. Point is this: good things are coming here as we up our game at Radio Misfits Dallas. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me as you have every day, Monday through Friday, for 3 years. The stream of consciousness is truly just a narcissistic endeavor by me, and you people indulge me. So for that, I will forever be grateful. Have yourself a great day. Love you all. See you tomorrow.